Heck, what is up, everybody? Beezy Beats back here again. Today I'm gonna be talking a little bit about a beat block. For those of you that know about beat block, you know what it is. Not an easy thing to deal with. Almost like a sickness. You get beat block and fuck, shit happens. I'm gonna give you my top 5 tips to overcoming beat block. All right. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right into it. First things first. I'm gonna start off with my first tip. All right. So usually I always start off with some type of melody or something. If you're like me and you always start off with a melody, we're gonna switch it up, because sometimes you go in there trying to make a melody and it just doesn't work. So for me, what I like to do is do the opposite. So if I'm gonna start off with like keys or something, I'm not gonna start it off like that if I have a little bit of beat block. If I can't find something, I'm gonna switch it up. So number one, always find a different way to make your beats. So if you make them with a melody all the time, then try to make them with drums. You know, try to make it with a sample, try to do something else. So always try to switch up your style. I usually have like 5 different ways that I can make a beat. So if I ever get beat block with making like keys or something like that, and making chords, then I just try a different way, so on and so forth. So first way, whatever you do, however you start your beats, usually, 90% of the time, which most of us do start them the same, do something opposite. So if you start with keys or something like that, go ahead and start with drums. Start with loops, something like that. So I'm going to talk a little bit more about all this, but that is tip number 1. Making sure you're switching up how you start your beats every time. Well, not every time, but just, when you get beat block, stuff like that. All right, so that's tip number 1. Tip number 2, super simple tip, and a lot of people don't do this, and I feel like you all should do this. So what I do is I'll just kind of demonstrate to you kind of what I do. I'll do it with a blank one. So I'll throw a empty drum rack. Just a little basic empty drum rack, and then what I'll do is I'll get a sample pack. Sample packs are great for inspiration, but I mean, I'm a guy that uses only like one shots usually. I make all my own loops and stuff like that. But there's beauty in getting a drum pack that's new and, kind of trying to flip it, trying to do some different stuff with it. So let's just say I got this like a Murder Beats pack right here, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and I'm going to put all these drums into the drum rack. Yes, I'm going to put all these drums into the drum rack. So, for instance, boom, drag these kicks, 5 kicks, boom, into the drum rack, right? And this is all just basic, simple knowledge that is going to help everybody to just get their workflow better. Number 1, if you don't have drum templates, I don't know what you're doing, because that saves me, honestly, so much time and looking for samples and stuff like that. So, helps so much. So yeah, so on and so forth. I'm gonna go ahead and throw all these in there. Gonna start with the kicks, and then claps, and then snares, so on and so forth, so on and so forth. And we're just gonna keep doing that until we have basically a full keep doing that till we have a full rack. So give me a second. Boom, boom, boom. And it's just throwing all those in there, like it's just throwing them in the drum rack so we could use them. All these samples within the drum kit. Boom. So easily I can go ahead in here and just fill in anything. Come up with the ideas. If I want, depending on whatever kind of style, I'm just gonna fill in something real quick. It's a basic like trap loop, something. And if you guys are watching, it's so simple because I already have all these samples in here. Super simple, and that's all it is about, is being simple, keeping things simple, because honestly nobody's thinking that hard about making these beats. It's just happening. But it's a lot about having your stuff set up and your stuff already ready to rock, and just knowing what is dope and what isn't dope. So for me, knowing my samples, knowing all this, and having a lot of these drum racks, I probably have like I have a drum rack like this set up for every single drum pack that I have, pretty much. So you know, this is a basic, but this will already get you. This will already get you going, like, simple. Boom, right? Super, super simple. Already get you going. Boom. See, that's already a drum beat. Now, all we gotta do is add some on top of that. But look at beat block gone. What beat block? Exactly. Another tip. Simple. Super, super, super simple. You can add so many things, but the beauty of it is look at it. You have all these different sounds. So that's tip number 2. Make sure if you got beat block, remember, tip number 2, load up an empty drum rack, find a sample pack, throw in all the samples from that sample pack, or, you know, if it's larger packed, you want to go ahead and throw in the ones that you like, your favorites, stuff like that. And then boom, build. Super easy. Now, building some chords over that is not as hard as building some chords over nothing, you know? So if we wanted to build chords over that, super simple, like, you know? So, but just like some basic chords. You know what I mean? Whatever though. But those are just basic shit. Basic. So if you wanted to build some chords around that, it would be super simple. Got rid of beat block right away. Super. Okay, so next tip number 3. All right, so you can't come up with a melody, you can't come up with some keys, you're not feeling the drums. Let's try something else. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go ahead and pull a loop real quick out of one of my packs, the BZ Beat sample pack. I'm gonna be dropping this soon on my channel, so I'll keep you guys posted what I got going on when it happens. But I got a ton in heat in here. So grab a sample. Cool. All you do is grab a sample, right? I'm gonna throw this in here. If you notice, the sample, I think it was at 140. It was about right there. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna completely destroy it and remake it into something else. Warp it. Get it right. Got the sample that we want. Now we're gonna go ahead and move forward and we're gonna pitch it. Mess around with the pitch. And usually, honestly, I go 7-5-3 on the pitches, depending. Usually those always look good or sound good. So this is way sicker. We go even 12. See, I like the 5 though. Simple. Change the tempo. Go 10 times more in depth with this. I could chop it up. I could do whatever. There's so many other things that I could do with this. But I already have a beat here. I have a melody. Look it. It's a completely different melody to what it has. So we could chop this up. We could space it out. We could throw this on a sampler. We could reverse it. We could throw some halftime on it, which I might do real quick. Throw some halftime. Just makes it totally different. All different ways to flip this beat. All different ways to flip this beat. Dope. Got those drums that we had already. Beat block gone. Beat block gone. So like I said, if you guys want to Get rid of that bleed block. Tip number 3, throw a sample in there. It could be any sample too. It's really just experimentation. So you throw a sample in there, you pitch it, change the BPM, stuff like that, and then go ham on it. You could flip stuff, you could change stuff, add some drums, boom, and you have a new beat. Tip number 4 is a little more in depth. So tip number 4 is a little more in depth. This one, I usually go about it with a little bit of thought. So before I go in the studio, I'm always thinking about what kind of beat I'm gonna make, what type of beat, what kind of key, happy, sad, right? Because it doesn't even come down to knowing the chords yet. You just got to know the mood. So what I'll do if I can't find anything, I'll go on the internet. I'll look up this website. It's called tunebat.com, right? And what TuneBat does is it finds the key of any song. You pick a popular song or something, you know, and it'll find the key of that. It'll tell you what time signature it's in, what tempo it is, and what key it is, right? So if I'm bumping my music all day, I'll kind of pick random beats that I like, and I'll go look on TuneBat, and I'll be like, oh, okay, that's A flat minor, or that's G sharp, whatever, and then I'll kind of create a beat off of that. But from taking it in depth with that, what I'll do is I'll fill in the notes. I'll fill in the notes for whatever the scale is. So let's just say this is the scale for C major scale, right? C major scale, all the white keys. So boom, boom, boom. Exactly how I do it here. Exactly. I'm going to go ahead and just fill in those notes for the scale. And I'm going to pull these down. Spread them out throughout the whole beat. Throughout the whole piano roll, I'm sorry. Boom, 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 to the 0. And then look at now. I have all the notes of the scale. I have all the notes of the scale together. So anything I make is going to be in scale. So let's just go like this. Let's just fill in a little something. So let's go. Just fill in a little something. I'll just do it. Boom. So we got a little basic little something, right? So if I wanted to build these up, I have all the notes for this. You see, guys? Super simple. We could do whatever we want with this. And you could build the chords off of this. I actually did I actually got another video that I just dropped, me building basic melodies from scratch, so make sure to check that out. And I showed how I like pencil things in and stuff like that, so make sure you go ahead and check that out. But look at how simple it is. It's just change these, you could flip them, there's so many different options. Super, 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 super simple. But this is just a basic way, like I said. We're just experimenting, but now that we have all the notes within this scale, it's kind of hard to go wrong. So, you know, you can just kind of mess around and find the melody. From here on out, it's just filling in these notes and getting them right. You know, you could do a long chord. So many different ways of going about this. But wait, I thought we had beat block. No, we don't. Not anymore, because look at, we have never-ending supply of notes to work with. So another great tip. Another great tip is just finding a scale, filling in the notes all across the grid, and just making chord progressions out of them. But look at it, it's super simple because you already have all the notes. All you have to do is follow the guidelines of these notes. So tip number 4, go ahead and find a scale, fill it in, and start messing with it. Start adding notes, start adding, start building chords, stuff like that. It's really simple once you kind of understand the basic method of it and how to build them. I'm going to be doing basic music theory, a tutorial on that, and how to build basic chord structures and stuff like that for those of you that don't know. So watch out for that later in another video that I'm going to be doing. But until then, I mean, basic knowledge, you know what sounds good, you know what doesn't sound good. So every other note, of course, is going to be a basic chord. Every other note up one on the third is going to be another basic chord, and so on and so forth. But these are just ways for me to find, different things like that. So we'll talk about that in another video, chord progression, stuff like that, scales. But boom, beat block gone. Once again, beat block gone. So that was tip number 4. Tip number 5. Tip number 5 is super simple, but another one that's like, wow. So all you gotta do is look up a drum loop. Look up a drum loop in wherever you can get a drum loop from. There's so many good drum loops. So I'm just gonna take from this Kashmir pack, or actually no, let's go from this other pack. Take a random one. We're gonna take the Amen break, the world famous Amen break. Tip number 5. Went ahead and pulled out a drum loop from a random drum pack, right? Doesn't even matter what it is, but all you got to do is you got to go up to it, load it up, right click on it, and you're gonna go right here to slice or convert drums to new MIDI track, right? What that's gonna do is that is gonna make all those notes that are in the drum, it's gonna make it all MIDI. It's gonna basically steal the drum pattern and the groove, and it's gonna basically steal the drum pattern and the groove, and it's gonna play it on your default. So let's go ahead and play this again, and I'm gonna show you what it sounds like on the new MIDI. So this is the MIDI that just stock with Ableton, but from the Amen break. Boom. So that's a completely different beat, Now here's the trick. Here's the trick though. You throw it on one of those drum racks that you made earlier that we talked about in step number 1, and boom, move around some notes. It's usually going to be on the same thing, So let's move around some notes. Move around these notes a little bit. So you might have changed a couple things, but I'm just putting this on half. And then boom. These are all the snares. Okay. We got ourselves a whole nother everything. And this is just basic, like I said. This is just a basic idea, but you can go so in depth with this because there's so many good drum racks, so many good drum packs, so many good drum samples that you could just extract grooves from. Now with having the power of that, that's at your fingertips, unlimited. You could also do the same with that with any sample that you have. If you do the same thing, just go ahead and right click on that, and then convert harmony to new edit MIDI track, or convert melody to new MIDI track, depending on what you want to extract. I usually try both because you never know what's going to be the better one. So just boom, just still that, and that takes basically, it turns everything that's in that sample to MIDI. It'll usually throw it on your stock piano or whatever it has, but another great tool, because sometimes you're trying to figure out this chord and what it is, or you're trying to figure out this sound, or like again you got beat block and you can't figure anything out. You could extract these and kind of flip the whole thing. Now you got some chords, or you got some basic melody to go off of. So look at this now. Look at this now. So now I got it on a boom, a whole nother beat from nothing. Boom, simple. Beat block, what? That's what I'm talking about. So those are my 5 simple ways to get past beat block. Remember, all you got to do is just have different ways to make your beats. That's all it is. We got one way to make our beats all the way. All you need is 4 more different ways, and boom, you're in business. So if one of those ways fail, move on to the next one, so on and so forth. Once again, this is BZ Beats. Thank you guys for tuning in. Make sure you like and subscribe to the channel below. Hit that notification too, because I'm going to be dropping a ton more videos like that. Thank you guys, everybody that's been watching. I appreciate you guys, and let's keep it moving. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.